Okay, welcome back to episode 4 of the series How to Make Your Own Programming Language in Python. So in this episode we will be finally adding string variables to the language. So the syntax for variables is going to be let followed by the variable name equals and then the value. So this is a string and then we're going to be able to print it using print. So before we start working variables, I'm just going to clean up this statements method a little bit. So I'm going to move this chunk of code here into a separate statement method. And then up here I'm just going to append the result of the statement method. And then here, instead of appending it, I'm just going to return that node. So if we run the program, everything should still hopefully work. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now we're going to start work on the variables. If you take a look at our updated script.txt file, you can see that the first change we have to make is add a new equals token type to the lexer. So we're going to create that new token type here. And if we come down to the lexer, we're just going to check if we come across an equals symbol. So if the current character is an equals, and then we will just append a new equals token with the value of equals, and then we'll just advance to the next character. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is update the grammar in the parser. So at the moment we have the program which looks for statements, and then the statements is looking for 0 or more statements using a while loop. And then each statement consists of a print identifier and then a string. Now we can define this syntax using a very simple format as I have here. So on the left we have the names of all the methods, program, statements and statement. And on the right we define what each method does. So the program is looking for statements. Statements is 0 or more statements. That's what the asterisk symbol means. And then each statement is an identifier with the value print and then a string. So that's what we already have in our code. And this is going to make it very simple to update our syntax in the future. As you can see, we have two different types of statements in our language now. So we have a variable declaration statement and then we have a print statement. So if we update this syntax, instead of the statement being a print and a string, it is going to be either a variable declaration or a function call. So we'll define that now. So a variable declaration is going to be an identifier with the value of let. Then there's going to be another identifier for the variable name. Then it is going to be an equals, so that is a new token we created a minute ago. And then it's going to be, at the moment, just a string for the value. But in the future we will have different types of values. String. And now the function call is going to be an identifier for the name of the function. And then as an argument to the function, we are going to have an expression. And now what an expression is, it could be anything like 8 multiplied by 9 plus 6, or it could be a string saying hello world, or it could be a variable name, so a, which we have already in here. Now at the moment we aren't worrying about numbers or anything, we only have a string or a variable identifier. So we're going to define the expression here, so it's either going to be a string or it's going to be an identifier. And in the next episode we are going to be updating this expression rule to handle numeric expressions. So by looking at this new updated syntax, we're going to be able to very easily update our code in our parser. Okay, so I just had to make a quick cut here because for the variable declaration it can't only be assigned to a string, but it can also be assigned to a variable. So we're going to just put an expression here as well. Okay, so let's continue on with the video. Okay, so we're just going to comment out what we have so far in the statement method, as we won't be using this anymore, and we're going to begin with the variable declaration. So we're going to define that here, variable declaration, And so the first thing we want is to look for an identifier with the value of let. So I'm going to eat an identifier, and I'm just going to assign that to let. And then I want to check if the value of let is equal to let. And then if that's the case, we want to look for another identifier, and that's going to be the variable name. So var name is equal to eat another identifier. And then we need to eat an equal symbol. And then finally we want to call the expression method. So we will assign expression equal to self.expression. I don't know why am I passing itself. Here we go. So along with this new variable declaration method, we also have to create a new variable declaration node. So I'm going to create that here. And it is going to take in a variable name, and it's also going to take in a value. So I will assign the name to the name and the value to the value. Okay, so we're going to return that node here. So return a variable declaration node, a var name, and then expression for the value. Okay, so the next thing we have to create is the function call. So I'll define function call. So the first thing in the function call is an identifier, which is the name of the function. So function name is equal to eat an identifier, and then after that we have an expression for the argument being passed into the function. And obviously in the future we will have multiple arguments, but at the moment we just have a single argument. So expression equals self.expression, which we need to define now in a minute. And then along with this function call, we then need to make another function call node up here. And so the function call node is going to take in a name and an argument. So we'll assign name to name and argument to argument. Okay. So now we will just return a new function call node with the function name and the expression as the argument. Okay, so now we have to create the expression method. And so first we are going to look for a string, and if we can't come across a string, then we will look for an identifier. So we are going to assign string equal to self.eat string, and if the string is equal to none, then we know it doesn't exist. So then we will look for an identifier instead. And so if we come across an identifier, we need to return a new variable access node. So we're going to define that now. So it's going to take in the variable name that we'll be accessing. So I'll define that up here. So class variable access node, and we are going to take in the name of the variable that we were trying to access. So we'll just assign that to self.name. And so if we did actually manage to come across a string, then instead we will return a new string node. And let me just look up here, how did we do the string node again? Yes, we just took in the token. So string. Okay, so now we need to update the statement method. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to attempt to call variable declaration first, and if that succeeds, well then we can just return that node. But otherwise we need to reverse what happened in the variable declaration. So we need to reverse all of the calls to eat, and so that we're back at the same token that we were at before, and then we can go ahead and return self.function call. And so we need to implement this reverse method. So we're going to define that up here, and we're going to take in a count, so how many tokens we're going to reverse. And so we're just going to subtract token index by that count. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is check if the variable declaration succeeded. And so the way we're going to do that is check if the node is not equal to none, and then we can just return that node. Now otherwise we need to call self.reverse, but we need to know how many tokens we have to reverse. So the way we're going to get this number is quite simple, but before we do that we're going to make sure that we return none whenever we don't come across what we're looking for. So as you can see, I'm now returning none wherever we don't come across what we're looking for. Now before we continue, I'm just going to quickly allow you to be able to specify the token value inside the eat method like this. And that means we can then get rid of this if statement, and then it will be a lot shorter. So I'll just quickly implement that. So we'll take in a token value, and that's going to be equal to none by default. And if the token value was provided and the token value is not equal to the token value, then we'll just return. So now we have to worry about how to get this X number. The way we're going to do that is we're going to store a variable called reversible, and this is going to start at 0. Now every time we return out of the method, we're just going to also return the value of reversible. So we're going to add that in here, 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 and then don't forget here at the end. Now every time we eat a token, we're going to increase this reversible by 1. So we're now increasing reversible by 1 every time we eat a token, and when we call another method, we take in the reversible from that method and then add that to our reversible count, and then that gets returned everywhere in the function that we return. So we can now take in reversible from this node, and then we can reverse by reversible. Now since variable declaration is depending on a reversible value from the expression method, we also have to implement a reversible count here. So we will just return 0 here and 0 here, but if we didn't find an identifier, we will just return none followed by 0. Now the reason we are returning 0 instead of storing a reversible count is because there is never a situation where we will have to reverse any token, and this is because if we fail to come across an identifier, it's not going to end up advancing to the next token, so we don't need to reverse. And if we fail to come across a string, well, the same thing happens there and we just look for the identifier. Okay, so we are now going to run the code and make sure there are no errors. Okay, what was this? Line 74. Okay, so TechNoob found this error in the last episode, and to fix it you have to make sure that the current character is not none, and then do the check, and here the same thing. Make sure the current character is not none first, and then do the check. So that should hopefully fix it. Okay, so we'll run that again. Okay, no errors, that's good. So I'm going to split this episode into 2 parts. So this first part was updating the lexer and the parser, and in part 2 for this episode I'm going to be updating the interpreter so that variables actually function. So I should have part 2 for this episode out in the next few days, so don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this video and leave a comment if you have any problems, and I will try help you out. So I will see you again in part 2.